I've started a new hobby. I've always been fascinated by candles, and in a day where even a phone can produce a blinding light, the touch of a button, oh. There's something more natural and comforting about the self-contained light and heat that comes from a candle. I thought about making candles for a while, and a big push came last year. We were heard possibly from a rumor that Yankee Candle was going to discontinue the lavender vanilla scent that my wife loves so much. I haven't found that to come to be a reality, but I knew that something very important to our family was in danger, and so I took it upon myself to start making candles. I made these last Tuesday. What was this one? Let me take you through a typical candle making evening. Once the kids go to bed, I take over the kitchen. And first things first, many of you know that I also brew beer. When you brew beer, while you brew beer, you drink beer. So when I made candles, I drank beer. There are fairly precise measurements on weighing out unmelted wax. 1 pound will give you about 20 fluid ounces. How many ounces are in here? 8. I don't know. It's not measured, so I did not know. But I figure this is 2 pounds of unmelted wax. It will yield some candles. Set up a double boiler and start melting the wax. They say when it's 180 degrees, add the color. Now, if you don't want to use fancy measuring equipment like a thermometer, when the wax is melted, it's safe to add the color. It comes in little squares you can break up and add color. The more you add, the darker it's going to get. You want to cool it before you add the scent, as too much heat is going to boil off a lot of the scent. You want it to have 120 degrees to add the scent so you don't lose any of the scent before it sets. But if you just take it off the heat for a few to several minutes, it's bound to be cooler than it was before. You can add the scent. Make sure when you're adding color or scent that you stir thoroughly to make sure that it's mixed in well. I use the stirring stick. It happens to look a lot like a thermometer. There are several styles of candles. I made container candles, which you can identify by the container. I've also made a pillar candle. Not well enough to share yet. I don't know if it's my technique or the mold that caused the questionable structural integrity, but more to come on those. Container candles allow you to set your wick and then pour the wax in. Wax doesn't harden immediately, so if you pour the wax and then set the wick, nobody's going to know. Once the wick is in the wax, let it harden a few days, and it's ready to give to your Toastmaster. I knew you'd pick that one. Or this one, I don't know. The other one's for my evaluator. So if you notice, these have a wooden wick. These I found recently, and just like burning wood, it's got a little bit of a crack and a pop to it as it burns. It's not a log of hardwood, but it makes a little bit. It has a little bit of noise behind it, unlike a traditional wick. I used a regular wick to make this pillar candle. To achieve this effect, you need a mold, similar to this, which has a hole in the bottom that you need to run the wick through. And it's very important to cover the hole before filling it with melted wax, for reasons that become apparent to me every time I fill it full of melted wax. These you let them sit for a little while, let them harden most of the way, then you poke holes down into it, let it set, pour more wax in, and let it set. And that's what gives them a little bit more denser shape, or denser consistency. Now the mad scientist in me wants to ruminate and take things a little further. Who remembers from inorganic chemistry the combustive spectrophotometric properties of potassium chloride? It burns purple. So wouldn't it be neat to have a candle with a purple flame? Yeah, it hasn't really been done because in the physical universe that we inhabit, salt doesn't readily melt in wax. It's a small obstacle, but I hope to overcome that. I made a few batches of traditional candles and the pillar candles. It's been fun, learning a lot, but ignoring a lot too. So there's a lot of mess to clean up, but the mess smells nice. And Christy and Bethany, I'll leave you the words of my childhood barber. If you like my services, feel free to tell others. If you don't, tell me. I'll make it better.